Welcome back to Drop a Line. It is great to have you here tonight. I, of course, am your host, Alec, and tonight I am very, very excited. One True Promotion has been honored to partner with the Arts and Authors Extravaganza for 2 different events and to be just so graciously welcomed into the community there and to have made so many of our connections there and to have gotten some of the very first guests for Drop a Line, such as James Ellerby and Daniel Novotny, while tabling at the Arts and Authors Extravaganza of 2018. Our guest tonight is the CEO and founder, a terrific author, and an absolutely wonderful entrepreneur who is so giving and good to the community around us. Please give a warm welcome to Kimberly Ross-Hollingsworth. We are live.
Hey, Alec.
How are you?
Good, and yourself? How are you?
Wonderful. Happy to be doing this show tonight.
I'm happy to be on it, finally, because...
Finally is right. We've done such good work together.
How long now?
The show has been going for about as long as we've known each other, around the time that you invited us to the first Arts and Authors Extravaganza. Yeah. The show was just doing its first episodes, I believe.
That's a beautiful thing.
It sure is. So we're going 3 years strong, and it has been absolutely wonderful to collaborate with you last year going into this year. It was great to see you at Mr. Ronnie Dawson's event at the mall. And how have you been since then?
Pretty good. I mean, things have been going fast. And it's been a journey.
Oh yes,
and I'm loving every single bit of it. Every bit of it.
That's good, and that's the key, right? It's always a journey, and it can be a very challenging journey, as we've both seen. But if you're enjoying the journey, then the battle's already won, right?
Exactly. But I'm learning from you, actually.
Really.
Especially with the podcast, because if it wasn't for you or Andrew, oh my goodness, I don't know where I would have been with it. But I really appreciate your help with everything.
Oh, of course. Well, as the director of broadcasting at One True Promotion, my goal was always to bring people together. Quick shout out to Andrew, who couldn't be here behind the scenes tonight. He is tending to a injured family member right now.
Sorry to hear that.
Just wanted to say that, Andrew, I haven't actually even started my podcast yet. I plan on starting one at the end of the year, but Andrew has consulted with Kim to start her podcast, and eventually he will consult with me to start up mine. So Andrew really is just the chief operating officer of One True Promotion. And Andrew, though you couldn't be here tonight, you are always on our minds and always in our hearts. We literally couldn't do any of this without you. So for those of you watching, Andrew is the guy.
Yes, he is.
All right, enough about that. Let's talk about Kim. Kim, you are a prolific person. You are, if I'm not mistaken, an author. You are a founder and CEO. You are a YouTuber. You are a podcaster. My goodness, we have a lot to ask you about.
Yes.
So I guess my very first question would be, where did all of this begin, and what was the moment you first realized, this is me, this is what I can do?
Well, it all began 11 years ago when I wrote my first book. It was a memoir. And instead of me having like an individual book launch, I decided to include local authors and artists. And that way, I have this funny thing about the spotlight being on just me. Mm-hmm. So and it took me a long time to get over that. And I'm still trying to get over it like now. But I've come out of that shell a little bit more. And so in the beginning, when I launched my book, I started the Arts and Authors right then and there because I had a huge book signing along with an art show. So that was the beginning of everything. Uh, we had performers. I just didn't want like an ordinary uh, book event or author event. I wanted it to be a little bit more exciting. So that's why I called it an extravaganza. So we had performers, we had spoken word artists, we had the book signing, we also had the live art show, and somewhere down the line we started. We had the band come along and join us because I thought it added a nice little touch to it to make it a little bit classier, and it really did. And everything worked out well. So now, 11 years down the line, uh, we're getting ready to celebrate our 11th anniversary in August, on August 21st, at the Crown Plaza in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
That is amazing, and I am so happy to hear that you're celebrating your 10th anniversary. That is
11th.
incredible. 11th. I'm so sorry. 10th. Did I say 10th? It's just such an honor.
You've been there so far. It's been what, without the 2020 break? I think 2, maybe 3 years.
Yes, I think my first one was 2018 for sure.
Yes. Wow.
So, yeah, and at the time, One True Promotion was only just forming. I remember Andrew came to assist me with tabling for Barker's Rules, my debut novel, and it was just me, and he was my assistant, and I met you there. You were very gracious, right through the door as usual, and then we met Shandy Lynn, and then we met James and Danielle and Sam and everybody. It was just incredible.
Yes.
It really was, and it really is not just any normal book signing. It is extravaganza, like you said. It's a celebration of the arts. It's a concert. It's a Q&A. It's a panel discussion. It's everything.
And that's exactly what I wanted. Even though I have my little shell that I'm in, I am an exciting person. I love to have fun. And thank God I have a husband that allow me to be me, and he doesn't try to change me. And it took him a long time to actually do something that he enjoys to do, he enjoys doing. And now he actually has a table at the Arts and Authors Extravaganza along with my other 2 daughters, because he makes his mask, his Marvel mask and stuff like that. What is that? The 3D prints. And also my daughter Gianna, she has her drawings because she's an artist, teen artist. She's 17. And then my other daughter, Brittany, my oldest daughter, Brittany, she came with her spiritual crystals. So I am just honored and blessed that I have family members that are actually taking out tables at the event and expressing like their passion for the arts. And I really appreciate that. But it took them what, 8 years to
Yeah.
to actually do that. But listen, it rubbed off.
It did. And what would you say were some of the biggest challenges that you were faced with when you first really tried to make this dream a reality?
Well, the biggest challenges was, well, for one, was the help. I had volunteers that, uh, helped out with like different things at the event. Um, but that, I think, is the most challenging part. I, you know, I know for a fact that I can't do it all by myself. And thank God I have Kelly, my sidekick. She helps me with so much stuff, and that alleviate me from having to, do a lot when I'm at the event. And then of course I have you, I have Andrew, I have James, C. Ellerby, I have Ronnie Dawson. So it's like all of us are like a team, and I can't leave out Raymond Tyler. So with all of your help, it's still going and going and going as planned. And, you know, most likely 11 years will be maybe 20 years, who knows? But it's all teamwork. And I appreciate you guys for, helping the arts and authors along.
Well, we were honored to be there, and this partnership came about because you invited us to your event on Zoom when we were in lockdown. You decided to turn all the wheels forward and host the Arts and Authors Extravaganza 2019 on Zoom with
Yeah,
with all the guests, and then for the second part to that, Andrew and I had simply offered to bring it over here to StreamYard, where you're all currently watching.
right.
And it was really such a simple, to us anyway, it was really just such a simple offer, really, because we
Yeah.
just figured we could take what we had learned and use it to help you with the stream. What I think is impressive is you say that you're very introverted, but I never got that impression of you professionally. You did such a great job just being open and being lively and welcoming everybody in, even on the Zoom platform. I remember
Yeah.
you really seemed to have the whole thing under control.
I try to. Well, I can. That was the funny thing when I first started everything. My husband, he didn't understand how I can plan an entire event sitting at home behind a computer.
Hmm.
Most of the people that come out to the arts and authors, I wouldn't even meet until that day of the arts and authors event. And he was shocked because he's like, you can do all this stuff. And well, I'm a good behind the scenes person. And then I would, would actually hire someone to, MC for me and, do all this other stuff. And, it's good when you're planning things because, I was taught like, different things from my sister, like as far as event planning is concerned. And, you know, um, and just by having that support behind you, I can do all that from behind the scenes. But now, and this is what I was talking about today with my sisterhood community, um, I'm not hiring an MC anymore. I'm going to be my MC. So I'm trying to come out of that shell. So I'm getting there, Alec. I'm getting there.
You're getting there. That's right. And we'll be along for the whole ride. Of course, that's what One True Promotion is all about.
Thank
Um,
you.
I think it is so great that we were able to meet and that we were able to kind of share our platforms a little bit.
Yes,
Speaking of shared platforms, you've also, as we said, become a podcaster and you have a YouTube show.
yes.
How did that come about?
So actually, um, okay, I'm going to take it back just a little bit.
Sure.
Uh, when I started the Arts and Authors Extravaganza, uh, there was so many people that kept coming up to me asking me, "Well, how do you write a book?" And I want to write a book, or how can I, even like come out and rent a table at the Arts and Authors Extravaganza. So we came up with the platform where the write a book platform at the event. So we hired authors, editors, we had publicists, we had everything that you can imagine to write a book. We had all the people there that were professionals within that field. So they would answer all the audience's questions on how to write a book. So it gave some of the audience an incentive on writing their books. And then I would try to help them write their books, the best way that I could at the time. So after I, was doing that for a couple of years, I decided to write the book called Write Your Book, write, publish, and market your book. So um that people could actually learn how to write their books before they actually came to the event every August. So that was a very popular book that started them on the journey of writing their books. And then throughout the pandemic, I decided to start my online book club. So that was introduced to me. I took a course by Shalina Broster, and that was during the pandemic. I started the Book Builders Academy. So I have Book Builders Academy to help people write, publish, and market their books too. So it's like everything is like bam, 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 but they all go in order, and
That's right.
it works.
Well, it really does work, and that's what the impression that I got. Like you said, it's all very orderly.
And then as far as the book, once I had the Book Builders Academy, that's when I started the podcast. Now the podcast stems from it's on different platforms. So that's how the YouTube started, because I have it aired on the YouTube, I have it on Anchor, Spotify, Google Play. So that's how the YouTube channel came about.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I don't go on the YouTube, because YouTube is that's a whole other ball game.
It is a whole other ball game for sure. It's when I was a young man going into high school, I discovered YouTube in its earliest days when all that was on it was music videos people my age were making at that time. Now the White House uses it. Now every media company uses it. Now it has millions, billions of users, and it can be pretty intimidating to navigate at times, but also very, very productive.
It is very productive. I love it. I mean, I don't, sit and actually physically put videos on there. It streams automatically, like through the platforms that I have, which is easier. Right. And that was taught to me by you guys.
Andrew is the man.
I love it. I love it.
We're happy to help. Real Talk TV is here helping out. Says he's sharing this live now. Welcome, welcome. Ask us anything. Any questions? Please feel free to write them in the comment section.
And thank you, Kim said, "Thank you, Kim."
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you so much for being here, Kim. And you as well, Kim. Lots of Kims here today.
Oh yeah.
I'm a channel holder and author, and you will enjoy YouTube. I think you will too, for sure. Yeah. It's interesting because each of the different social media accounts really have their own set of rules. That's the most interesting thing I'm learning.
Yes. And have you noticed that Facebook, since they changed the way that they do things, do you find that that's a little bit more intimidating now than it used to be? Because I do. I find that it's harder.
Well, I actually deleted my Facebook half a year ago. So I actually went on an exodus from Facebook, and I'm not able to comment much on it. But from what I've been hearing, yes, I do. In theory, I would definitely say that they're making it as hard as possible.
Yes. Real Talk said it's so true. Yes, it is. It is true. And I prefer StreamYard or Zoom over anything now. I mean, you can stream it through Facebook and YouTube and everything, but I find it's so much easier. Hey, it's been a while.
Yes. Welcome, Michaela. Thank you so much for joining us. Ask us anything. We are talking to Kim about entrepreneurship and authorship. Of course, the one and only Kim Ross-Hollingsworth is here. Kim, you really have cemented yourself as an important person in the writing community. The Arts and Authors Extravaganza has been going strong for 11 years. Your podcast, your YouTube show, and your company, the Book Builders Academy, is already helping a lot of people. You have really introduced yourself to so many people as a helper. But I would love to learn a little bit more about you personally. So your book, Nothing Beats a Failure But a Try. For those of us who don't know, what is this book about?
Well, Nothing Beats a Failure But a Try. It's a memoir about my 3 husbands. And yes, I've been married 3 times. And I felt that I had a story because I was married 3 times before the age of 40. So I knew that I had to get the word out. I was writing that book for about 10 years before I actually put it out there. The reason why was because I didn't know how to end it. When you're writing a book about yourself, it's like, okay, I'm not dead yet. So it's like, how do I end this book?
Right.
So one of my editors actually told me, and her name is Sean Jones. She actually told me, you can end the book and then start another book.
That's right.
So that's exactly what I did. And then she told me to narrow my actually, you know what? I'm gonna backtrack just a few minutes, because Kimberly Booker, she was my first editor on the book, and then I had Sean Jones finalize the editing process. So they had me narrow down my title. I narrowed down the title, and then I also narrowed down the book, to where instead of me starting at my childhood, which they said could be another book, um,
Mm.
I just focused on just the subtitle, which was The Three Husbands. So that's what I wound up doing. And my first husband actually came out the closet. That was my high school sweetheart.
Mm.
And that didn't work, of course. So I, ended that relationship because I knew that I couldn't compete with another man.
Well,
So
no.
I so I ended that relationship, and then my second husband was abusive, and plus he was a criminal.
Oh.
So I was with him for almost 8 years, going on to 9 years, and I had to literally hit rock bottom before that relationship ended. I had several warnings over and over again. God was telling me, you need to get rid of this man. You need to get rid of this man. I mean, it was to the point where it was killing me. Physically, I mean, like really killing me from the inside out. My stomach, I had like ulcers. My skin was like dark and clammy. And I just felt like, I was like a walking zombie. Like everything that I did, lived, and breathed was him. So I knew that I had to get out of that relationship. So I just kept going back, 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 back. And then I had to actually hit rock bottom before I literally left him. So if you want to read the book, you can read the book, but I don't want to give away too much.
Sure, of course, of
And then,
course.
of course, I'm with my third husband right now, and we've been together almost 20 years now. And
And
we are actually celebrating our 15-year anniversary the end of this month on the 24th. And he is everything that I could ever imagine of having. And I wasn't even looking for him, but they say God will send you the person that you're supposed to be with. He will send him to you or her to you, but you can't just go out there and be looking for them. They will come to you. If it's meant to be, they'll come to you. And that's exactly what happened. So I found my Prince Charming. Third time was a charm. And congratulations to you and your new marriage too, Alec.
thank you very much. Thank you very much. I am more blessed.
Beautiful woman.
Oh, she is. I am more blessed than I could ever put to words. And thank you, Real Talk, for checking the channel. I appreciate that. We are One True Promotion. We platform writers, authors, artists, everybody. If you want to do an episode, hit us up. Kim, I got chills because what you just described was described to me in a viral Facebook post once, and it went something like this. Your first love, you said you'll fall in love 3 times. Your first love, you'll think it's real love. It'll happen in youth, but you don't really know yourselves yet. You don't really know each other yet. And this one can basically end hurtfully when both of you change. And he certainly changed. And then it said the second time you think you're in love, while you're trying to fill a gap in your life, it'll be a relationship that is a mistake. It'll be a relationship that really hurts, and also one that teaches a lot of lessons.
Yes.
And the thing I love about the third relationship, which is described as the one that sticks and is actually true love, is that they specifically say you won't be looking for it. It'll just happen all of a sudden. It said that as you were describing that to me, I was
Isn't that
like,
something?
that really is a universal truth, isn't it? Wow.
It really is. It really is. And that's why, like, some of like my friends that I've come in contact with, when I first told people about my book, some people had negative responses to it, and then there was some that had positive responses. Like the negative responses was, well, what did you do? Why have you been married 3 times? What's wrong with you? But people judge what they don't know. And
Yes.
if they knew my story, they knew that why would I stay in a relationship with someone who doesn't want a female as a preference? Why would I stay with the second husband when it's a criminal behavior and it's abusive and toxic? Why would I do that? And then my third husband is like, okay, I finally found the person that, well, not found them, but I finally have the person that God has intended me to be with. And, then there's some women that say, well, you had 3 husbands. I can't even find one. So it's like, there's so many mixed reviews on, what I've gone through, but you have to read the book in order to know what I've been through.
That's
You
right.
know, what they say, you have to take a walk in someone else's shoes before you really understand. You really do. You
That's
really
right.
do.
That's right.
But it's possible. If that's what your goal is to meet someone nice, and you want to be married, or you're or on the flip side of it, you don't want to be married, you want to get out of it, you got to do what you have to do.
That's
You
right.
realize what anybody say. You have to do what you have to do. Because
I love this show. I really do, because every show we have people on that just give amazing life advice, and usually the advice is about honing your craft or getting your business started. Tonight we're getting some really good advice, some life advice, advice about the stuff that really matters, that life is all about. I knew it would be just amazing to have you on. I knew that you would be such a great fit for this platform, and I totally agree with you. People have got to read your story before they can. People. I'm of the opinion people shouldn't pass judgment in general. Obviously, there's only one who passes judgment in
That's
the
right.
end. But yeah, before anybody forms an opinion, they have to read your story. You can never take something at face value.
Exactly. Because looking at me, you wouldn't know. You would
Wow.
not know that I've been married 3 times.
Wow, you look like
Oh,
you've been going strong since high school.
let alone that, I'm a grandmom of 5 grandkids. I have 3 beautiful daughters. 2 are grown. And I have a 17-year-old that I had 14 years later. No one would never, assume that these things happen unless you
Right.
knew my story. And I know I had a story. So that's why I had to put it
You
out
sure
there.
did. Where can we, Real Talk is asking, where can we buy the book?
You can buy the book at Kim Ross Hollingsworth, and I will put it in the section.com. So KimRossHollingsworth.com. And also let me see. You can go to bookbuildersacademy.com, and then you can get the book. But
That
yeah, it's an interesting book, and I decided to put it out there to prevent women from going through unnecessary changes that I went through. If sometimes if we just listen to and look at the red flags, because we know when something isn't right,
yes.
but most of the time we just ignore those red flags, and if you just pay attention to some of them and nip it in the bud and ask the right questions up front.
That's right.
People are so afraid of asking. Well, I mean, I had to mature into that lesson, but people are so afraid to ask the right questions. But if you ask the right questions up front, you can avoid a lot of anguish and I mean, you really can. You can avoid all that, but you just have to ask the right questions. And even now within your relationships, you have to still be willing to ask the right questions.
That's
And
right.
sometimes we don't want to hear the answers to them. Most times we don't want to hear the answer to it. But if you just be honest with yourself and ask the right questions, you'll find out a lot of information. And believe people the first time they tell you something.
That's right.
Believe them.
That's right. Thank you for sharing that tip with me, but I'm gonna go and make this mistake anyway.
That's the truth. We still will make a mistake.
Human nature, right? Real Talk says that writing is definitely a form of therapy
Really
and that
is.
it is healing. And then
Yes.
he asks you, have you been able to heal from those experiences since writing your book?
Of course I have. Of course I have. Because even some of the things that I was writing in the book, and this is something that I talked to my sisterhood uh, community about too. I kept a planner and a journal the whole entire time since I would say 19, 20 years old. Um, because my first daughter, I got pregnant at 19. I had her when I was, excuse me, I had Brittany when I was 19. I had Brianna when I was 20. And no, yes, 19 and 20, I had my girls. And I always kept a planner because it was hard for me to even, understand and know and keep track of myself, let alone two additional people. And I was married at 19. So I kept a planner all those years and I would I would journal along with, writing what I actually did that day, and I just kept that journal. So when I wrote my first book, I referred back to every single journal that I had, and that actually gave me the timeline of writing a memoir.
Mm.
So it actually opened my eyes because some of the stuff I've completely forgot. When you're going through trauma and with my second husband, I mean, I really had trauma. It was like I wasn't even there. It was like an outer body experience. And even my daughters right now can tell me some of the things that happened that I have no clue. I can't even remember. But
Yeah.
I wrote stuff down and that's how I remember most things. But it's just crazy. But I was delivered after I wrote that book. I really came to my senses and I vowed never to fall back into that rut again. And also, I wrote a list of things that made me happy because there was, I didn't know me being married at 19 years old and having two children at such a young age. You don't know what your likes are, what your dislikes are. I mean, I moved out of my mom's house at 19 years old and went all the way across the world. I went all the way to California with my, ex-husband. And I didn't know me. So after I wrote the book, now this is two husbands down. Well, actually, I was married to my third husband by that time. After I wrote the book and learned what my likes were, what my dislikes were, that's when I came into myself, basically.
Yes. I
And
love that.
it's something, but it is therapeutic.
It is. It is. I absolutely adore that because I think sometimes we can misjudge the importance of writing things down.
Yes.
At school right now, I'm teaching the kids Our Town, a play by Thornton Wilder, which is literally about writing down. The first act is literally about writing down a day in the life of the most boring town. that's ever existed on Earth,
Wow.
where they do nothing but mundane things, and the kids are hating it, absolutely hating it. But it makes such a strong statement about the importance of writing things down, just so that people will not only remember you but know you. They'll understand what your daily life was. They'll understand what your highest values were. They'll understand what it's like for people to when lives end.
Yes.
And it's really like, not everybody's on board with that, but I really think the reason that's a classic is because it makes a broader statement about the importance of storytelling, especially the stories that we may at first assume people wouldn't be interested in, our
It's
stories.
true. Yeah.
But we need to write our stories down.
And this is what I've learned too. Even though they don't understand it right now, they're going to remember somewhere
That's
down
right.
the line.
That's right.
They're
Oh
going
yeah.
to remember. And I say that because my daughters, there was a few times when I say things to them, and as they were growing up, I'm thinking, and I knew they weren't, I kind of thought that they weren't listening at the time. But now I see like different traits and different things that they're doing. I'm like, oh, so they weren't listening.
Hmm.
Somewhere down the line, it starts to click.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that. Love that.
Hmm.
Kim, this has been an amazing conversation. We are almost already running out the clock for the episode. I knew this would happen. I knew we would get talking and the time would be gone like that.
Exactly.
Before we get much farther, I wanted to ask you, is there anything that you would like touched upon tonight that we haven't thought to ask you yet?
Well, I'm not sure. Oh, I know, because we talked about the Arts and Authors Extravaganza, which is going to be August 21st. We talked about the podcast, and the Book Builders Academy, but we didn't talk about my magazine.
Oh, you have a magazine. That's right. Thank you for reminding me.
Yes, the Arts and Authors Extravaganza magazine actually came out last year. Kelly and I put that one together. She was the editor on that particular magazine, publishing editor, and we put that out first, and then I think the second one just came out last month,
Yes.
and so now there's two Arts and Authors publications.
All right.
I know that was tricky. It was hard, but
Mm.
we are looking for more submissions. So if there's I would love to get something from you as well, so that we can put it in there again for this publication. And we're just looking for articles that's interesting to the artists and authors,
Yes.
and it's just tips, strategies, tools that we can encourage our fellow you know artists and authors. So
Yes.
I'll put the information in the comment section for that as well.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, and thank you, for your continuing generosity in bringing us all together. What
That's
advice would you give to people who are trying to write their stories down, or people who are trying to write their own magazines?
Yes, I would just say write. That's the hard that's the hardest thing. And if you can't write it, go to Google Docs. That's one of my main things that I use, apps, and speak it. If you can't write, speak it, and then let the editor do the rest. But get those words on paper, because you never know who's going to who you're going to help by doing so. Because all of us have a story, and it's time for you to get it out to the world.
All of us have a story. I love that, Kim. Thank you. I know. I feel very encouraged to start writing down some of my own experiences as a
Mm.
result of this conversation. I mean, you really do have an inspiring story. I mean, my goodness, um, you've described some serious adversity that you've been up against, but my goodness, look at where you are today. Look at all that you've created in your family and in your surrounding community of creators
Yes.
and creative people. I mean, it's amazing. It's a bright spot in this little
Thank
state we're
you.
living.
And it's not stopping. It's like every day. I mean, I have a few people that I'm helping, like right now, write their books. Some of them don't want it put out there yet, but there's so many people who needed help writing their books, getting their stories out there, and I teach them how to fish. I show them how to do it from start to finish. I don't want to be a middleman. So once I teach you everything, you can fly. You can do whatever you want with it. But it's just a beautiful thing that, I'm at that stage where I can do that now,
Yes.
and it's really a great feeling,
Amazing.
to be looked at as the professional.
No, it is. It is, isn't it? Soak it in. Soak it in. We have a great question from Real Talk. Do you plan on writing anything else?
Well, yes, I do. Well, right now, and I learned this from one of my mentors, Taria Avant. She taught me that when you write a book, you don't write just a book just to write a book. You write a book to do other things, and a book is supposed to be that starting point. Um, your book can lead you to speaking engagements. It can lead you to, different platforms, to your podcast, to your magazine. That's what that book can do for you, or events that you want to do. And that's what we're doing with the Book Builders Academy, is we're showing people how to leverage their books. It's not just you're writing a book, you're writing a book to leverage it. So the books that I write, that I'm trying to write now, is books that help people. I like the help books. And that's what I'm, working on now. I'm probably going to work on a few more ebooks, and another write, publish, and market your book. I have a couple of more series of those that's coming out as well, with different things that people are asking me for.
Ooh, Kim, this is exciting. Exciting times. I cannot wait to see everything you come out with. I think this is just going to be a fantastic season coming up.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And I can't wait for us to go to the Arts and Authors this year. Are you planning? Did you have another book that came out?
So we missed our intended release date because I wanted to continue making some edits, and we
Okay.
also wanted to put more marketing after the edits. So we decided to move it to the end of this year. But I have a strong feeling this year is going to be the year. So
That's
we'll
good.
we'll be chatting up a storm at the August 21st Arts and Authors for sure.
Nice.
August 21st, viewers, if you would like to go to the Arts and Authors Extravaganza, number 12, right?
11.
This is number 11. Oh my goodness.
11.
Number 11, 11th anniversary at the Crown Plaza in Cherry Hill. Please do get in touch with Kim, get in touch with me, and we will make sure we can get you in there. So,
That's right.
Kim, would you like to read any of your work or any parts of the magazine for us tonight?
I actually have it upstairs.
Oh, that's okay. If you,
down here. But I'll read it next time.
That's no problem. Listen, it's never a requirement, but I would hate to send you away without even offering. You know what I'm saying?
I know. Thank you.
Of course.
Like, if I run upstairs, I'm like, I have to figure out where I put it.
I know, exactly. That's all right. And thank you very much, Real Talk, for your affirmation. My wife and I are hard at work on the book. We're working on it together, and I think that we are going to have a very, very exciting year. And I think it's going to be a very exciting time at the Arts and Authors Extravaganza this year.
Oh, yeah. We have a great lineup so far. So far, we have a lot of people coming out. I just can't wait to see all the new and interesting things that everyone have. I mean, we have a lot of regulars, and then we also have some new people that's coming out, and we have the spoken word artists, some new spoken word artists that will be attending, and we're still looking for some entertainment. So that's what we're aiming for now.
Amazing. So if you are even if you are an entertainer and you're looking for a place to jam out or with people who appreciate you for being there,
That's
check
right.
out the Arts and Authors Extravaganza. It's a great place to hang out and jam out.
And it's a family-friendly event. So
Yes.
if you bring, you don't have to leave the kids home or the husband or the wife. Bring them all. Bring them all.
Amazing. Bring them all. Kim, that's about our time for this evening. Do you have any closing remarks for myself or for our audience?
No, well, I just want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you, Alec, for having me on your show.
Oh,
And I look forward to us continuing our relationship and having some great things ahead of us. I'm just looking forward to the great things.
I'm looking forward to the great things as well. And you are welcome on the show literally anytime. We're going to have a little bit of a slight format change in the upcoming year. I will be launching a podcast as well called Pen Night Radio. So I would love to have you join me on that as well. But really, it has been an honor and a privilege to collaborate with you thus far. And you are always welcome. Thank you for joining our chat tonight.
Likewise.
Yes. Kim, have a terrific evening.
You
Say hi to your wonderful family for me, and happy writing. And I cannot wait for all the good things in store.
Oh, thank you so much, Alec.
Thank you. This was Kim Ross, everybody. Give her a big hand where you're sitting at home. And thank you so much for watching the show. Please subscribe to One True Promotion. We will be doing another episode next week, and we will see you all next time. Good night.
Thank you.